we'll have some external guests today. So we have a couple employees to go kind of talk you through, and I'm excited. I'm excited for today. I think today's going to be a really fun day, and hopefully folks are going to be excited by the kind of special guests that I'm going to bring on. Okay, so with me today is our CTO, or Chief Technology Officer, and that's a guy by the name of Hardpoint. Hardpoint, do you want to kind of give a quick introduction and just assume that there's a handful of people that have no idea who you are?
Hey guys, this is Hardpoint. Excited to be here. It's been a couple of weeks, actually. They've been hiding. Not hiding for bad reasons, hiding because there's a lot to get done on the backside. So I've been doing a lot there. I have been working very closely with Aggie and Matt, and I'm helping run the technical organization. So I'm involved in trying to get hiring going, trying to keep everybody organized, keep everybody aligned, and keep our products moving forward, which is super exciting. Glad to be here with you guys and excited to share more.
Awesome. Let's get into this just a little bit. So let's actually talk through some of the changes. I mean, one of the a while back, we all went down to Orlando and we all tried to figure out how is this company actually going to run. We went from 15 employees to somewhere around like 100 employees, and we're trying to go figure out how do we work together, how do we make products, how do we go faster. Just having people isn't enough. You need plans and strategies and tactics, organization. You need to keep things moving. And it's been a couple of weeks since that meeting. So, hopefully you can kind of talk us through before how did we operate and now how do we operate? And given that, how is that changing timelines? How is that changing work output? Are things working? Or have we started firing more cylinders? Do we still have more work to do? Kind of give us a broad overview. And I kind of want the diet commercials have the before and after. Let's go kind of talk a little bit before and after and see how we're doing.
Thanks, Aggie. Okay, so let's see. Before and after, we went into the end of the year last year with a huge spike of growth. We had a lot of people joining and a lot of things going on. I joined in September, so this is almost 6 months, actually. Pretty excited about that. The 15th will be 6 months here, so I can't believe how fast it's gone. We started having, I think we had 4 to 6 developers, depending on how you count part-time contractors helping us out. And we've grown. We right now, just from a development standpoint, we have total members. We have 12 devs on. We have 1 new one, and we have 7 that are going through our collaborative evaluation. So we're, net total right now sitting around just shy of 20 that are here and participating in one form or fashion. Hopefully we'll get some of those guys converted over. We'll have even more capacity. But what do you do when you start getting that many people on board? And that's just the dev side. Here's some interesting stats for you. We had a total on the creative side, 31 team members, and we've had 9 new team members just this year. That's like saying 50% more creative in the last 3 months than we did last year. When you talk about our support team, we're running right now around 26 team members, and we've been holding that steady. The support team has come in and done an amazing job helping us through some hard things and getting through some of those technical challenges that we did. We had no joke, 1 month last year, we had 10,000 tickets that were open due to all the server issues. And this year, it has gone down way, way down since we've been working hard at stabilizing the platform, adding in lots of great fixes and stuff. So it's been amazing. And we've had that support staff has ground through a lot of that. They've been building processes. They've been rolling out Zendesk across the board, which is really exciting. So it's made a huge movement there. So the team is really moving and flying there. We have a lot of new teams that are booting up. In fact, that's one of the big changes. We went to Florida. We were talking. One of the things that we've been slowly putting in place is how do we approach teams and process as an organization? And, it's no surprise for those of you who have been around technology that we've adopted an agile approach. and we're starting to implement agile teams across the org. For those of you that have never heard of that terminology before, what does that mean? That is basically means that this organization is aligning itself with an iterative, very dynamic approach that allows us to move quickly when there are projects that we need to switch from. If we're working on something and we need to switch, it gives us an opportunity to switch. And so what that means, and this is probably more what you guys are interested about, is that we right now have set up 4 separate product teams, and we have outside of that 12 different specialty teams, and so that that puts us up close to the 16. We have 16 different teams that are functioning in the organization. I don't know about you, but that kind of blows my mind. That's a huge amount of teams that have been formed. Part of the reason we're starting to go that direction is to allow us to manage this many people that are in the organization effectively and allow everybody to have a home, everybody to feel productive, to feel like they know what their targets are. They feel like they've got their tasks and their product that we're delivering, since we're starting to gear up that. A lot of that can be seen in subtle ways. If you guys have been paying attention to our release notes, you'll notice that we've been releasing on almost a weekly basis for a while, and that list of things that's going out the door is increasing steadily. But that's not the big stuff. So a little bit when we've aligned these teams, those 4 teams, we have one team that's working on wild and modern. We have one team that's dedicated to what we're calling a rapid delivery team, and that team is small projects and getting like things like walk promotion that went out superbly last week. They were involved. We have another team that's working on land. Maybe heard of a little large expansion to the product that we're working on right now, and so we have a team dedicated to that. They're also in concert working on essentially what we're calling Splinterlands 2.0, which is basically starting to dive into mobile friendly development, making a lot of our pages more responsive. We're working with creative to build best in class kind of UX for that. So that's really exciting. But in concert to that, they're working on land. So you're going to see some really cool things from that. And we have another team that's working with Matt specifically on validators. You guys heard about the validator project and governance. We have a team that we've aligned resources with to kind of move that forward. So what's really exciting is those 4 teams represent the spearhead of a lot they're doing. But to have those 4 teams and to say that they can do things by themselves is completely not correct. There's 12 other teams that range from just going to kind of rattle off some names here just because I think it's interesting so you can get an idea. Like we have everything from creative narrative team, creative art team. We have creative design team. We have an economy design team. We have a security team. We have a service team and analytics. We have a Zendesk team. We have support team dealing with financial issues. We have account management support issues. We have a team for triaging an AI agent. So you guys just kind of get the sense of just how big this organization is expanding. And then we go and we say, hey, Warner, we're doing Warner, right? So you're probably wondering where all these teams fit. We're actually building out entirely new teams just for Warner. So all of these teams are going to continue to function and continue to drive forward the Splinterlands roadmap. And actually, speaking of the Splinterlands roadmap, I have something really exciting to talk about that as a project that I've talked about in the past. I've been wanting to get something. I actually have been working steadily on it. And now that we have these teams aligned, we can now start to project a little bit forward on what these teams are going to do and what their priorities are. And so that means that we can then translate that to an updated roadmap for you guys. And then that means that we can start keeping it more updated on a regular basis. So that is what's in the progress right now. I'm hoping that the next couple of weeks we'll be able to do a reveal with it. Hopefully by the next time I'm on Town Hall, I'll be able to show that off. If not, be there earlier. So really excited about that. So anyway, it's a lot to get going. We have a lot of people that are working really hard on your behalf in the community and to make this stuff happen. And I can't tell you how excited I am to work alongside everybody here and to see it all coming together. But it is no joke, a lot of work to get that much done. So yeah, that's where I'm busy. One of the things that's fun that's coming up, and I'll just kind of tagline this before I go let Aggie let you pick back up, but is GDC is coming up and NFTLA is coming up, which I'm excited to go with my friend Chatter here, and Satine will be showing up, and actually we'll be speaking. Me and Chatter will be speaking. I'm going to be speaking at GDC, and Chatter's going to be speaking at NFTLA. So really excited about that. Sharing some of the Splinterlands love and our approach to crypto, and talking a lot about frictionless crypto to a bunch of gamers and people that are in the NFT space. So really excited about that. It'll be really fun. That'll be last half of March for me, but got a lot of things going here. Very excited. A lot of new people. One of the things that I'd love to share with the community soon is some of the new faces that have come onto the team in the last couple of weeks. Getting that in line and sharing that with you, that'll be super exciting. But it's been really fun, and excited to be here, excited to talk about these things with you guys.
So now that we have all those teams put together, do you feel like we're making faster progress than we used to? Are we going about the same speed, or is this orders of magnitude different? Like, what's your sense of pacing now that we've gotten kind of this framework operational?
So one of the things, yes, absolutely. Like I said, if you look at our release notes, you're starting to see that ramp up. One of the things by aligning these teams and having these backlogs, which we, in tech, for those people that are familiar with tech, but backlog is just a list of work that's prioritized. We start being able to have a way for us, if we need to go do something, we have these teams where we can go and ask these teams, hey, can you do this for us? Like, we need to make a change to, ranked rewards, for instance. Where does that go? Who do we go and ask about that? Well, now we have teams that we can have go and say, hey, we're going to deprioritize these things. We need you to work on ranked rewards. And literally, that's something that we are literally doing. Is ranked rewards is one of our top internal projects for one of the teams. And very, very excited to see that project going. We've actually been working on it for a while, releasing a little bit of increment changes here to slowly improve the economy and improve the ranked experience. And I know there's been a lot of chatter in the community about like some of the leaderboard issues that we've had, and that's something we're looking at right now. But yes, like absolutely, it is a lot of time. It takes a lot of time for when you hire devs and you bring them in and plug them in. It takes time to get them up to speed to be able to be productive. And so what's happening is the investment that Splinterlands has been paying over the last couple of months is starting to pay off. And I really think what you guys are going to see over the next couple of quarters is us start delivering stuff that just wouldn't be possible without having a well-organized and functioning process. But I will say one thing, and this goes out to the whole team. It doesn't mean that it's perfect right away. Like, we are absolutely walking into this as a fledgling company that just exploded with people, and we are doing everything we can to take care of those people, and it's a lot of work and a lot of staff. So it's like, guys, as I say this at every time I show up, it's like, bear with the team. Like, we are gearing up, we are getting organized, we are getting moving, and guess what? You guys keep watching. I said this last year. This year is going to be amazing as this stuff starts to come online. We're starting able to predict our velocity and what we can do. And like I said, with that roadmap, when we were able to share that roadmap out with you guys, I think it's going to be exciting to say, yeah, this is what we think we could get done this year. And it's going to be fun to show off just how much we think we can get done, which frankly wouldn't have been possible last year.
So how when do you think we'll start seeing like an updated roadmap that players can view and we can adjust? I don't know if it's daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or something, but when do you think that kind of thing will be live and we'll have an open discussion around timelines and plans for all these different teams and groups?
So I actually just met with Matt. We have, now that we have the teams, like I said, and we have kind of started to look at what the team's capacity based on the developers they have. We're starting to thumbnail that out. So I met with Matt, and one of the big changes we did is we now have Homestead has actually taken over the role as product owner of Splinterlands. And, you guys are saying, what does that mean? Well, it means that he's helping facilitate the work that's being done on Splinterlands. And like he had been kind of an interesting story with him. He came in and was helping us with, community moderation. And then we're like, hey, why don't you help us do more than that? And he kind of stepped up to the plate, did that, started helping generically with business analysis type of stuff. And then that kind of one thing led to another with him stepping up to helping us keep this, the Splinterlands product kind of moving, organized, talking roadmaps, helping the devs know what to do, working very, very closely with Matt. And that means he reports to Matt. That means that he reports to me and Matt, and then he's kind of boots on the ground where me and Matt are able to affect strategy. Homestead is the one on the ground making sure that strategy is happening and keeping me and Matt in the loop, because we're just to the point to where me and Matt cannot be in every single team meeting. We can't sit down with every single developer we have here. We can't sit down with every single person. So we're having to shift gears and starting to have other people step up to be a conduit to all the teams so that we can keep moving fast and furious on that. Basically what I'm thinking is the next couple of weeks, I was hoping that I could pull this together before we go to GDC. So that's in 2 weeks. I'm hoping that will be the case, but we'll see. That I've got a lot of stuff to get ready for GDC, and we've got a lot of things going down the next 2 weeks. So my hope is either before GDC or right after GDC, I'd like to have that roadmap out public, and we can start keeping it updated on a regular basis.
Can you, for some of the people that aren't hip to the lingo, can you say what GDC is and why we're stoked about it?
Okay, GDC, it means Game Developer Conference. It's basically the Super Bowl for all game devs in the U.S. Once a year. It's one of the largest conferences put on by industry professionals. A lot of game companies come to share and discuss how they're doing building games. It's a great recruiting opportunity for us to find some people that are in the space. It's a great opportunity to show off what Splinterlands is and how we're different. So very excited to be there. I'm going to be attending all week. So if you happen to be an industry professional and showing up, say hi. Somebody say hi. Would love to say hi to you out there.
Awesome. That's a grehave update. Thanks, Hardpoint. Well, I think we're all excited to see the roadmap, but even more excited to see all the progress and know that we have four main development teams simultaneously operating, and we've never been close to that. So I feel like we're moving forward, and we're getting new teams spun up for some of the sister projects. There's more sister projects to be announced, and it's not the kind of stuff that we're going to slow down development of everything in Splinterlands to make happen. It's new teams, new people, new incentives, new stuff to go help us there. All right, so I want to get some updates from marketing and from creative. Last week I think we started with marketing, so let's go start with creative. Nate, you want to go kind of give us an update of what's in your world and who are you, what do you do, and what are the priorities? What do we do?
Yeah, my name's Nate. I am creative director, and as Hardpoint pointed out, more and more of our day is spent just hiring, growing, onboarding, training, getting creative. Just like the dev side, creative is ramping up to try to not only support and accommodate all these product teams that we're putting together, but also to elevate the production quality of the game, improve just everything across the board. And boy, the talent that's coming on board is just amazing. And we're really excited to see not just what they crank out and what they're able to do in upcoming updates to the game, but also, the people currently being interviewed and people that we're considering as candidates. So there's a lot going on there. In terms of, what we've been up to, I know that, the Waka page on the top page will be updated pretty soon, and that'll, allow, people who aren't familiar with the blog post to see from in-game what's the phase 2 about, what's going on with Wax and all that good stuff. we're working on. I want to make sure that every town hall we bring up that the narrative team is the talented narrative team. They're just hitting it out of the park every week with these stories. I know that last week was the Waka's Army. Let me see. Paste that in here. Okay, so if you haven't read Waka's Army, I encourage you to do so. It gives you in fact, what you might do first is go over to the lore page for the Waka card, read his background, read the story snippet there, and move over to the blog post, and it just kind of continues who this character is within the Splinterlands. And I think they did a great job. Daniel gave a very good brave heart feel to the whole story. It's a little inspiring there. And then I believe tomorrow we're going to be releasing a new story. And I want to kind of take a step back. Our narrative lead is the guy who is making tomorrow's story. And all the stories are great. There's lots of drama, there's excitement, there's joy and depression, and there's all these different emotions for those of you who are enjoying the stories up until now. But I will say that keep an eye on tomorrow, and if you typically skip the stories because that's just lore, I don't need it to earn more dark energy crystals when I play the game. I don't need this. Tomorrow's story by Joey, the narrative lead, takes a slightly different direction than all the other stories, because what it does is our first step towards taking you, the players, and sucking you into the game world, which we're hoping to do more and more the closer we get to land and creating new gameplay within the Splinterlands ecosystem. Make it, like I said, almost every town hall, make it so that you feel less detached, like you're just playing a card game, and more like you're in the world. And tomorrow's story will go a long way in doing that. It's told from the perspective of you, which is interesting. It's not from a character in the Splinterlands. It's you, the player. You are the star of tomorrow's story. And so it'll kind of give you a glimpse into what it's like to be a battle mage. You, the player, because that's what you are. You're a battle mage. And secondly, it's going to kind of touch upon a lot of things that have been glossed over in the past. And that has to do with, how does battle mage magic work? What does that mean for a player who is about, as land gets introduced, and as we introduce all this stuff, and we increase the immersion level, what does that mean for you, the player? Like, what is your role in this world? And tomorrow's story will touch on that. But since a lot of people like eye candy, here is a little tiny peek at one of the illustrations for tomorrow. And Matt, our art lead, is just, again, he's just amazing, and so he did that. So let's see what else we got going on. So I think that's a pretty decent update up till now.
What are your priorities? Like what? So that's a good general overview of where we're at and what we're doing. Like specifically, what do you think of as your priorities, and what the most immediate needs are that you're asked to get cranked out and get ready for the various teams?
Gotcha. I would say for hiring, it's definitely UX and UI. We are definitely trying to look only at the top AAA game studio candidates that are out there, and we're coming across one here, one there, and we're making some headway there. And as they're brought on board, it only increased the depth and the scope of just all the things we could kind of sprint at as fast as possible across the Splinterlands ecosystem. But following that, I would probably say like more tangible. I would say Modern Wild is a big one. The art team is hard at work trying to come up with stylizations for. It's not going to be phase one, so don't anyone freak out on me here. But quickly after we introduce phase one of Modern Wild, we are hoping to introduce a version 2 thereafter, and that one will probably have a more polished experience with all the cool stuff. Phase one is just a, hey, the players have been asking for it. We want to give it to you. There you go. You can do it. As far as the more embellished, beautiful, immersive, animated experience, then It may take a little longer for the creative side to kind of come up with all these assets, but like here, I'll give you an example. I could show one. Yeah. So just keep in mind, this is just concept art. Concept art. This is not the final art. This is us kind of like throwing ideas at the wall. But just to give an idea, here are some ideas for the modern bronze league shields. And this is Nick did this. He is one of our new artists that got brought on recently, and he's working through how are the badges for the leagues going to be different for modern compared to wild, and what can we do to kind of differentiate them? And we're doing the same thing. I have another artist working on the loot chests. How will the loot chests look differently as you progress through modern and wild and all these different things? So there's a lot of exciting, cool things being worked on conceptually to make sure that the game feels, again, more like a game, and not just a game, but something that can compete at a much higher AAA game studio level. That's where we want the production value to be. So, and that's what we're working towards.
Sweet. All right. Thank you, Nate. Liam, do you want to go kind of catch us up on some of the marketing guys? Like, what are you doing? It's been a little bit slow with the Bitcoin price coming down. Like, what? How are we doing? What are we doing? And where are you taking us?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to be hard to follow up Hardpoint and Nate's discussions there. But yeah, I mean, as you said, it's been a little bit slow with the bear market as far as kind of new users coming into the game has been. We're really wanting to make sure that we're focusing on getting new players into the game, and that's really being driven by those spellbook purchases going forward. So that's going to be our huge kind of new focus going forward. A lot of that's being supplemented by some of the new people that we've brought onto the team. So as of this week, Robbie, or your name's Robbie in Discord as well there. Robbie, I'll let you introduce yourself quickly in Discord. But he's stepped up as a partnerships and events manager for us. So he's really going to be looking to bring in a lot more traction for Splinterlands, whether that's kind of looking at like physical figurines, how we can potentially spin like D&D games off of that, tabletop games, looking at merch and comic books and podcasts, and really how do we get like the G Fuels or the Logitechs to create like a headset for us and do all these events with us to help get new eyes on the game and to really bring more people back to the game itself. He's going to play a pretty pivotal role in that alongside the rest of the team, with Rick doing tournaments and Rondon spinning up stream team going forward. That's pretty close to launch, I think, as well. So stream team should hopefully be kicked off in the next kind of couple of weeks here. Biz, I see your question in the chat there. Yes, plushies are being made right now. The prototypes are being made. So those are probably about a month or two away, but those plushies will be going on sale shortly. Everything else, again, it's really just trying to push people towards getting those new spellbooks in. So some of the initiatives too, we've noticed that there's a little bit of drop off or a little bit of struggle for new players trying to understand the game, whether that's kind of creating their accounts, claiming their keys, getting the kind of Hive keychain set up, or whether that's even going to like buying SPS and getting that into the game. So Bulldog and the rest of the team are working to create a whole video series, which is going to be great for kind of new users coming into the game, really doing a full-on explanation of how to get fully set up from square one all the way to being a champion player in the game there, which is going to be great. And then otherwise, really just the usual suspects. We're getting ads going. We're still going with affiliates and PR and everything else. But as Richard said, conferences coming up, GDC and FTLA, we'll be speaking there. Some exciting news. We're going to have ZipMex hopefully launching March 4th with our listing there. I know we've announced the partnership previously, but hopefully should be going live end of this week. And then otherwise, just really continuing to work through a whole bunch of partnerships on our side to continue on the hype behind Waka and new things to come in the future.
Yeah. So how did Waka go? I don't think that did we talk about this yet on air? Like this is our first time like talking Waka. What happened?
Yeah.
How did it go?
Blew our expectations out of the water. I think the entire team was thinking it was going to be a pretty fast sellout, but I don't think we were thinking 30 seconds to fully sell out there. So you guys, this community, are awesome. You blew our socks off. That was pretty wild. We have phase 2 going on sale next Thursday, March 10th. That's going to be 12 p.m. EST, 5 p.m. UTC. but it was crazy seeing how fast that sold out.
And then we got some nice press on that, and then we also got some nice press for the Warner announcement. And we might need to do another everyone command here pretty soon, because I think that one of the folks from Warner is going to be on with us in a little bit. We'll see. But how did that go? I mean, I saw some stuff. Why don't you give us the kind of marketing point of view?
Yeah, so those press releases brought in like 5 figures worth of traffic from external sites coming in, and that was like mid 5 figures of traffic, which was super cool to see. Otherwise, like we rounded out the finance crypto column for the day there. We were getting some pretty big press and some pretty big placements on publications too, which is great to see.
And what do you think drove that? Like, why not everything we do gets that level? What helped us there? Why did this one get that when the other ones didn't?
Yeah, I mean, as far as Warner goes, it's such a huge name. One, it's a new game that's coming up, so people are going to get super hyped and super stoked on just seeing that new kind of IP come into the space. But there's a lot of weight in the names too, and I think that's being the dead horse of kind of saying we're trying to bridge the mainstream to blockchain here, but that's really what it is. If we're able to start partnering with those huge names, there's going to be a ton of press that comes through with it. And even going back to Waka as well, like, yes, not everyone's going to be able to afford a card or be able to get a card, unfortunately, just due to limited mints there. But the amount of tertiary traffic that gets brought in, the amount of exposure we get from those partnerships, it's super, super, super influential and super helpful for our brand here. So as Robbie gets started, the partnerships and event stuff, he's going to be taking on a lot of that going forward in the future and trying to get us partnered with the big names going forward.
Yeah, I think just starting with pretty big names helps us get others. Like the first thing that they ask is stuff like, "Who have you worked with so far?" And when we're like, just kind of whistling Dixie or got nothing to say, it's hard to then say, "Well, you guys should put in and do something with us for $1 million." They'll be like, "With who? For what? For why?" I just feel like when we get this stuff and it goes, I'd say viral in this case, like that Waka story and the Warner story did pretty darn well. I think once they're out there and once we can tell our story, it helps us to get the next thing. And I don't know which one of those is going to be the straw that takes us to the next, massive increase in our player base and user base, but certainly, I think that there's some opportunities with the partners that we're talking to.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Brad had a great comment there in the chat as well. It's really just a compounding game here for marketing. We can't expect one player, like one YouTuber, shouting us out to all of a sudden move a mountain. But as we get all these huge press releases and as we get all these huge partnerships kind of stacking on top of each other, it will start moving mountains for us. So excited to see what we can do in the future.
Okay, so I think she's here. Let me here accept friend request. Let's go get some Warner folks on here. And we're gonna go here. We're gonna get Ron, and Ron. Hopefully you can kind of walk her on. I can hear Ron. Okay, you can grab her on and pull her into the conversation. All right, give us just a half a second. We're having like a moment of not technical difficulty, but technical awesomeness. Let's go. Yeah, I don't want to do an at everyone command. Oh, there she is. Yeah, let's go do an at everyone. At everyone. Well, I know, but I'm going to do another one. Please welcome Jaya Jaguar. At Jaya Jaguar from Warner. Okay, so let's see. Can she come on air? Can you speak? Are you there? Hello, hello. She's not muted. All right, maybe maybe you guys can hop on for just a second here. Hang on with us, guys. We weren't able to go do like weren't able to do a whole thing up front, but I think you guys are going to be excited to hear somebody from Warner, and hopefully that'll get going. I guess, Liam, is there something that you're especially excited about for the sort of like Warner partnership? What do you think is going to be? What do you think makes this a game changer?
Yeah, I think it's really just, hey, look, like Splinterlands, we're expanding as an entire organization. I mean, I know we've talked about the arcade stuff before. We have Warner stuff going now. Like, this is really the next steps of how do we start being the industry standard and setting the industry standard for all these blockchain games. I mean, Warner itself has been so amazing to work with. The entire team there is super talented. They've been absolutely gracious bringing us onto the team too, and really kind of helping push this partnership along. But I mean, hey, I'm a huge music fan, so actually being able to get like working with the artist itself is going to be pretty cool and pretty special. Yeah, I mean, I think last time I checked, they had something like 35% market share of like the top artists. Like, this isn't just like, oh, high five, glad to have somebody here. This is like one of the, what I look for are groups that have already aggregated large audiences. And like having 35% of like the biggest musicians around, like that's pretty sweet audience. I believe that they can help us. I believe that they can help us grow. And I think we can help them figure out ways, when you get those audiences, there's not always a way to like earn from that or grow from that or like, have products that you can sell, so combining the ways that we can like digitize, tokenize, and monetize, and their ability to go bring in people, I think those two things together are an absolutely like slam dunk awesome combination. Yeah, couldn't agree more. So they're still doing. Oh, there she is. Maybe you there?
Hello?
Hey, there we go. I can hear you. Do you want to introduce
Amazing.
yourself?
Hi. I'm so sorry. I was trying to connect on my computer, which is connected to some external speakers and mics, and so who knows? But I moved over to my phone, and if Aggie can hear me, I assume everyone else can. So hello.
Oh yeah, we can hear you great. Do you want to give a quick introduction as to who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Jillian, though it's my gamer tag is Jaya Jaguar. I work at Warner Music Group on a team called the New Business and Ventures team, and our job is to find new ways to integrate our music and our artists into all sorts of new media. So we handle everything that's not kind of the lean back consumptive music listening experience. So we don't do the Spotify deal or the Apple deal or anything like that, but we do all of the social deals and gaming partnerships and anything interactive. And now anything kind of in Web3 and using token technologies. So Splinterlands was a perfect partner because it's both the gaming and community building, but also introducing our artists to Web3 and token and that kind of technology and tools.
Awesome. We got a lot of gamers and gamer handles as part of our culture. Can you share some where that handle came from?
I wish it was a better story. It was, I think, so my first name is Jillian and my middle name is Joan. And it was some combination of those two that I put into the Wu-Tang name simulator. And this is what came out.
Obviously, that was my first guess. So,
but I like it. It's my initials. It's a little ethnically ambiguous. I feel like it's got some sort of feminine energy. So I still like it a lot.
Oh, it's awesome. So can you give a sense of some of the, let's start with just some of the other like projects that you've done or I don't know what else you guys have announced with some of the other projects out there. Do you want to give kind of some sense of what you've typically done previously? And then maybe we can talk about what we're doing to a little bit more specificity than just, hey, we're going to work together.
Yeah, so our team has historically focused on social. So we did the first ever deal with Snap and with Musical.ly, when as it was known then, which is now TikTok. Facebook, Instagram, or Meta, whatever they're calling themselves today. Triller. A lot of those partnerships came out of my team, and then we've slowly moved into trying to do more interactive things. So we recently did a music experience on Roblox with David Guetta. We did a concert there with 21 Pilots. We did the Silk Sonic emotes on that came out from another team at Warner, but the Silk Sonic emotes in Fortnite, licensing virtual goods and wearables. And then, we've also on the other side been doing a lot of investing. So we invested in Dapper Labs back in 2019 before, anyone had ever heard of NBA Top Shop, and did some really cool integrations in CryptoKitties. I think the most successful one was a CryptoKitty Muse collaboration, where there were a few different kitties that could be purchased. And that went along with a new music release by Muse. So it's really exciting to be able to kind of connect music discovery and promotion and artist fans and audiences with these new kind of mechanisms to share that, and also to engage their fans around it.
So when you're kind of looking down the road with the Splinterlands, and when you're thinking about integration with, like a Web 3.0 or play to earn gaming platform, like what do you hope that your artists get to do, or the fans get to do? Like what's the benefit to the, like stepping away from the business interest? Like, why should the fans of music care? Why should the artists themselves care? Like, what can we do here that you feel like you can't do, or that we ought to be doing here that you can't do in kind of other areas or spaces?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the ability to actually connect more directly with audiences and fans. So right now, it's really hard, unless you have everyone's email addresses, and even that, that's not really connecting. That's like sending out blast emails. You're stuck between platforms or engines or networks. Like, you never really own your own relationship. It's and sometimes even to advertise and to promote to your own audiences, these platforms charge you. So it's it for me, the biggest thing that these kinds of new and I know Splinterlands, like we want to make whatever we create with you guys really fun. We want it to be a game. We want it to be fun, but more than that, we want it to be its own community and ecosystem and environment. So to be able to build that with your fans, with no one in between you and them, except like us and Splinterlands helping, handhold you to get there. But at the end of the day, it's them and their fans. That's I think the most exciting part about this world and about this partnership for me.
So Mike, the fact that that's your answer is part of what makes me so excited to work with you. Because for us, like, the entire thing that we want to do is bring as much value as humanly possible to our player base. And we want to spread peace, prosperity, and freedom for users. And we feel like cryptocurrency is a great way to do that. But my way of explaining roughly what you just shared is, from my theater background, I think of it as breaking the fourth wall. You're like in a typical stage performance, you're standing on stage. It's me, the stage performer, and you, the audience. And it's almost like there's this invisible wall between us where, as you were saying, you get to sort of just lean back and watch that content and passively consume it. And blockchain, and specifically when we build our games, we think about three things: communities, gameplay, and economy. And that community piece is really exactly what you're describing, of how do we break the fourth wall? How do we merge that community and embed the artist, embed the player, embed our lore, embed our characters, so that it's not just this like peripheral, tangential, oh, that's nice, far away thing, but you feel like you know them. You feel like they're your best friend. You feel like, when they're singing, they're singing to you specifically, and that in this environment, you might actually get to interact directly with your fan base or your peers in ways that you just can't do on traditional media because it's so separated and like you said, with freaking paywalls.
And also to be able to reward them, right? Like a lot of the stuff that we want to create with you guys is gonna, of course there'll be ways to create new revenue streams for artists. I think that's important. They got to make a living out there. But I think it's also that they can give back then to the community. I think that's kind of to be able to then reward people who are participating the most or adding the most and back. I mean, I think that's really exciting too.
Yeah, I love it. I think there's so much overlap here and so much potential. I'm really excited. I think that you guys as the bigger company are going to be a little bit more conservative regarding what you'd want to share. So I'm pretty open about this next question. So don't worry about me here. But do you want to share anything about some of what we're planning on building? We can be kind of like keep it on the down low for now. We could explain in depth some of what we're thinking. I'm going to defer to you on this, but whatever level you're comfortable talking about. I'm happy to share in that and kind of talk through, the visions that are here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing we can talk about thus far is like what's been announced, which is the ability to bring artists into this world by setting up their own tokenized games and their own ecosystems there. I think right now we have plans to we're going to be kind of selective about the artists we want to bring into this because we want to make sure that they're going to be there for a while. But we've had some preliminary conversations internally. I think there's going to be some really good Web3 native artists who are interested, and then some who are just sort of crypto curious but want to use this as their way to get in. So I think the idea is obviously I'm talking to a Splinterlands community, so you guys all get it. You figured out how to do it. But for others, it is a little bit daunting to kind of figure out all the rules and where you go. And you saw like how long it took for me to even get on this channel. So it's going to be really daunting and scary. So I think some of what we want to do is create games that have at least rules that are a little bit more familiar. But then we can add really interesting things to them. So if someone just wants to be playing game one and they know the rules to game one, and this is just a more interesting twist on game one, great, because they can get in there really easily. But maybe once they beat a couple levels, we have some interesting things in there for them to do, or maybe there's like we add things down the road as the player base builds. But I think the idea is this is sort of play and earn junior for a lot of people to start to get them in, and then we can once they've drinking the Kool-Aid, we'll bring them along for much more.
Yeah, I think that's good. Just starting with the perspective of blockchain is hard. Let's make it as easy as possible for people to get here, and then let's incentivize it with your favorite bands, your favorite music, some of the most talented people on the planet to go drive their audiences to this. And I think you guys have the talent, the right vision, the right mindset, the care for your audience. I don't always hear that out of everybody. Yeah, I don't hear it always in the sort of communities around NFT projects, and I don't always hear about it from the big businesses that have existed. But I've heard it from you, and that's what makes me think, all right, I'll plant the flag here. I'll work with this group, and let's go try to make something awesome to go bring this audience, bring these people, and help turn them from, maybe digital natives to crypto natives, and make that as easy as possible for them.
Yeah, I think I think we're aligned in that goal, and hopefully the community that's listening will be nice and will support, whatever artist is. Because listen, any artist that comes on to be interested in this, it means they're investing. They're really going to try and build this. So I hope you guys will be nice to them and help and join whatever games they create, and hopefully play them too.
Yeah, I imagine that a lot of these folks will recognize that, having some world-class celebrities building here is going to benefit each and every single one of us. And, maybe not every single person ends up being a Splinterlands player, but, all those people are going to get familiar with our tokens, our economies, our rule set, our values. And I think that there's a lot that there's just so much potential between these two businesses working together. So I know you're a busy lady, and I don't mean to monopolize your time. Are there other kind of like big high level things that you want to bring up, and or are there I want to give you sort of like a chance for final thoughts, or just what do you want our audience to leave thinking about this partnership?
I mean, I honestly, I think it would be awesome if and I put this to you, Aggie, in the community, if there was a tab in the Discord about different kinds of games and things you guys would want to see. Because we're going to brainstorm with artists. We're going to make them as authentic as possible. For example, there are artists who have NFT projects already, or there are artists who have characters and IP that they've built on their own. So we want to incorporate all of that. We're going to make things. We're going to try to let artists really tell their own stories and use this as another way to do that. So, as on the one hand, we want to really give them a lot of flexibility and freedom and creative control. But on the other hand, I'm really interested in what you guys think would be a fun game, or an interesting game loop, or other ways to incorporate rewards and being able to buy NFTs. And so if if we can create a channel on here of just what would your dream game be and your dream collaboration, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, we'll do it. Liam, you're on board with this. You'll get that going.
No promises, but it really
no, he needs to promise right now.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Perfect. All right. Well, look, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. I think, maybe once a month or once every other month, we can kind of have you come back on and kind of talk to the audience, and we can share where we're at, what we're doing.
I'd love as soon as we have the first thing in development, I'd love to be able to show sizzles and get people into QA and beta as well.
Yeah. We'll get this whole thing rolling. This is not the kind of thing where it's 10 years from now, we'll have something really cool to show you. I mean, we're bringing people on. We're trying to get this up and running as soon as we can. We don't want it to disrupt the development of the Splinterlands side, because we know that our players are anxiously awaiting. That's why we're hiring an entire team to go focus just on this, but also get the experience of guys like Liam and guys like Nate and having Hardpoint here. They're not teams that are going to start from scratch that need to boot up on day one and figure all this stuff out. We have a lot of people with a lot of know-how and experience and in a really complicated place to build. And we'll get these folks up and running soon. And I'm excited.
Me too. Well, thank you everyone for having me. And I hope to come back with updates, and I'm in the Discord, so I'll keep track of that channel. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here. It's a pleasure to work with you. It's an honor to work with you. And I'm really excited to figure out what we can make. So thanks for being here.
Me too.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Soon. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. So if you guys aren't excited about her and excited about this project, then you guys are insane. She's awesome. That group is awesome. And I'm really excited to just, continue on with that project. So it's a little bit of a tough act to follow. So why don't we go get? We're gonna extend the kind of first hour here a little bit longer, because I still have 4 teammates to talk to. We don't have too many questions in the sort of prepped question list, so I feel like we can push back a little bit. But let's go to Weirdbeard. Weirdbeard, do you want to kind of talk us through where you're at? Give us an update on the pieces that are important to you, and how are things going on the esports side, and what else is in development for you?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Hello, Twitch chat. Hello, Discord. Making sure that wherever you're watching, we appreciate you being here. There's a lot of things happening. It may feel slow, but it's not, because there's things that are always kind of going. We're coming back up on the next round of tournaments to go out starting this next week. Very excited. It seems like after tracking some of the data that we have, the CP changes that we made have increased overall participation in tournaments over the past 2 weeks, which is nice to be able to see. Means that we're making it easier for more people to be able to get into tournaments and be competitive in them. Next up, things that we're really going to be keeping an eye on are our prize distributions and how we are seeing what prizing is putting to what essentially brackets, I would say. And not only just making sure that there's money in that prizing, but also our deck's competitive. One of the things we're really making sure is that people that are entering into tournaments should be there. One of the biggest kind of things that we've seen happening just from data is that you have this rank inflation that people are starting to have to contend with, where people will be like, oh, well, if you change silver, it's not actually silver tournaments. It's people that are totally competitive in gold that are coming down to silver. And then people in diamond are really in gold. And so it's like making sure that we get a handle on where players should be, where are they competitive at, and what do they need to be able to enter into those tournaments. It was spoken to earlier in this town hall about the flexible rapid response teams that we now have going on behind scenes. We are getting spun up to get these new tournament modes that we've been discussing behind closed doors. We're working towards getting the streamer tournament mode going on so that we make some improvements and fixes to the way that people streaming on Twitch are able to see things. People that view our tournaments, we really want to make sure that the Twitch audience has a good product. One of the things in esports and competitive side is not just the competition, but what does it look like? What does it feel like when people come and interact in Splinterlands? We have big plans for being able to take some of these new tournament modes out onto Twitch with some really large partners and being able to talk to the communities out there. But first, we have to make sure that our house is in order. We got to make sure that we don't have matches spoiled before you go and review them, because it just doesn't look great to an esports observer. So we want to make sure that that's taken care of. And I would say one of the other big things is just making sure that we're keeping an eye with all the data that we're collecting of our overall trends. Again, one of the main things that we're doing here, especially on the tournament side, is we want to make sure that people that start in bronze don't stay in bronze.
Hello.
We want to get them to move up to silver, and all the silver players should be able to move up to gold. And so what do we have to do, not only through tournament sides, but education and teaching players hey, if you're trying to go from silver to gold, here's things that you have to know. You need to know about the rental market. You need
What
to know
system
about,
you talking about?
all the other kind of complicated things that aren't apparent to people yet. So, it's balancing a lot and doing a lot, but I would like to give a huge shout out to people interacting in the tournaments channel here in our Discord. I get yelled at every single day, and I love it, because it's the only way that I really know the pain points people are dealing with is by getting yelled at. So please come interact in our Discord channel there. I'm trying to make it the most active. If you really want to get some productive conversations, the tournament channel is where you want to be.
Awesome. Thanks, Bear. Glad to have you here, and glad to have you kind of figuring this stuff out. It's important to so many people in this community, and I think you're making improvements. Thanks.
Thank you. And the last note I want to make real quick is that, as always, my Calendly link, you want to get on my calendar, schedule a 30-minute one-on-one with me. Tell me what you hate about tournaments. Tell me what you love about them. I'm always looking to talk to more players. The link is in the channel right now. Please go fill up my calendar.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I think next up, what I want to do is talk to Waffles Kitty. Let's do a little bit of Digicon. Maybe you can go tell us the what's up and the give us the latest, the 411. Who are you? What are you doing? What's a Digicon? Why should someone care? Oh, I can't hear her.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, there we go.
Can you guys hear?
Yes. We can hear you now.
My gosh,
My voice
waffles.
is getting way better. Don't worry. No Western ASMR this time. So hi guys, I'm Sarah. I'm the Digicon coordinator. Sorry, I'm still getting used to my voice being used. So I organize a bi-monthly online event. It's free. Anybody can enter. A bunch of crypto projects and influencers. All of the people hang out over here and earn swag, attend awesome talks, hang out in the DJ room. It's awesome. I do want to give you a sneak peek. I'll keep it short because we got a lot of stuff and we'll keep this moving along. But I did get approved for Splinterlands swag. We're going to give out 25 Splinterlands Chaos Legion packs and 25 Splinterlands vouchers. So look forward to that, the next Digicon in 16 days. So make sure you guys RSVP. You can go to digicon.com. We're most active on the Digicon channel here, or you can contact us on Twitter. Share all the memes and look forward to seeing you guys there. Ask me any questions. DM me. I'm around.
Awesome. Thanks, Waffles.
Thank you guys. Yeah, thank you,
Glad
Darian.
you're
Thank
feeling
you for
better.
everybody caring about me, though.
It's still one of the funniest moments I think we've had doing this. Okay, next up. So maybe we'll go to investigator. I think I'm saying that right. So this is a new temp. I don't know that you're a totally new team member, but you're a new team member to the show. So maybe you can go kind of talk to the audience. You're currently muted, so you're going to have to unmute yourself. But who are you? What do you do? And what are you working on?
Harry, aka the GCC, aka Investigator. Right now, I am 1/3 of the developers on the Rapid Development team. Formerly support staff, also a longtime player of the game. I've been playing for the last year and a half.
How did you find Splinterlands in the first place?
I've been a big card gamer for a long time. Used to be a semi-pro Magic the Gathering player back with the physical cards. And as somebody in the crypto space, I came upon Steam Monsters and then later Splinterlands.
And then what about this appeals? I mean, we don't play exactly like, Magic the Gathering. What part of your brain does this kind of like grab, and why? What about this did you enjoy that made you like it enough that you consider working here and spending your time and skills here?
Well, I like that the cards are actually something that you own, unlike pretty much every other game that was available at the time. Kind of harkens back to the actual physical collectible cards, except you don't have to fill up a closet full of them, and they don't get scuffed up and lose value.
Yeah, I'm still brokenhearted. I had like a whole bunch of comics. I had them in my mom's house. They were in the basement. The basement leaked, and then 5 years of comic collection was suddenly like destroyed in a small flood. And there's got to be other people in the channel that have had that same sort of thing happen. But yeah, I prefer the all digital stuff. So we had one example of like some tournament stuff that the rapid deployment team might be working on. Do you want to share kind of any other examples of like what do you guys do in like a day, or are you working on just one project at a time? Do you have are you bouncing between projects? Kind of what is a day in the life, or a week in the life, or a sprint in the life of a rapid deployment team dev look like?
Yeah, right now we are just starting our second week of being a team. And pretty much anything that's not land, modern wild, or the new platform is what we're working on. So all the bug fixes, the Chaos Legion being added brawls that just came out, pretty much everything else with Splinterlands onto our team right now. So it's definitely a lot of work. We've got a pretty large backlog of things that we want to fix and want to add. and are just kind of plowing through it as best we can. And there's definitely a lot of stuff that we need to work with creative and story and design to nail down. But it's definitely exciting.
How many folks are on that team? Like how many people are you working with in a given day? Like when you guys get on a group call for your stand-ups, like who's on it? What's that kind of look like?
Well, I think Hardpoint put in chat earlier that we've got 12 devs. So between the 4 teams, we've got 3 devs on our team. Myself, Melon Man, and Sicarius. We also have Camelot as our official QA, though Brybro has also been helping out a lot. And Soy Boy Roy is our person from the UI UX creative team. So it's basically 3 devs trying to fix everything.
Yeah, like how many? If you had to guess, like how many different like projects are on the backlog? Are we talking like 5, a dozen, a dozen? Like how many? How much like different deployments do we have to crank through?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's a couple dozen items on there. A lot of them are waiting for full scope of work, product design. There's some things that may get spin off into different teams, like the next 2 card expansions. But for now, we're trying to focus, I think, on things that we can turn around quickly in terms of bugs with the game, that some of which have been around for a while, trying to get things fixed up and cleaned up now that you've got the developers to do it.
Awesome. All right. Well, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your work. I mean, getting this team out and getting all this stuff changed so that the players have an even better experience, I think is huge. So thank you for working here and thank you for working hard. And I don't know, anything you want to share before we go from here? Or I got one more new folk to talk to, Robbie. So here's your last chance to next chance to let folks think through what they can expect either from you or the rapid deployment team or anything else.
Well, I'd just like to thank you and Hardpoint and Matt and K-Bucks for bringing me on and making me part of the team. I've wanted to work doing video games for most of my professional career, and most of that has been doing software development for less exciting things like oil and gas and medical. So this is definitely kind of a dream job, and hope that I can help make Splinterlands the best game it can be.
That's awesome. Thanks for being here. Okay, so Robbie, you get to round us out. Hopefully another 5 or 7 minutes or something, and then we can dive into questions. So who are you? What do you do? Welcome to the team, and maybe just introduce yourself some.
Yeah, thanks. Saving the best for last. I appreciate that. I'm Robbie Landis. I'm the new Partnerships and Events Manager, which I did a little bit of at my last job, which is mostly content creation. My background is in gaming journalism, radio, esports. I've hosted podcasts and streamed across various games for close to a decade now. And did the same thing over in radio for 4 years, where I worked with the Houston Outlaws from the Overwatch League.
Nice.
Chatter talked about a lot of the stuff that I'm already working on, so he spoiled a bit of my fun there. But the way that I kind of see it is, I'm hoping to expand the Splinterlands universe beyond just the cards and our web browsers.
So what do you think is going to be like what's your target? Like what if you've killed it over the next 2 years, or even just the next 6 months? Why don't we have you're just getting going. Like if you've killed it, what will the players experience? What will they have? What will be different? Like how has our life changed if you're successful on your mission?
If I still have my job in 6 months, I'm hoping for an increased user base. I'm hoping for more of a presence on Twitch and to see Splinterlands outside of its current comfort zone. We have merch that's coming soon. We're talking about plushies. There are dreams and hopes of a tabletop game, maybe expanding lore out into a comic format as well. Anything that we can do to help take Splinterlands into more of a mainstream I think that to the crypto community and the to earn community, we've already sold. They're already in on it. Now we need to start getting people, who maybe are a little apprehensive about the idea of crypto and blockchain. We need to get them in and show that the future is here. This is where gaming is going, and that's part of what I hope to do.
That's awesome. Are there target companies, or like, I guess, how about this? What do you think your highest priority is? Like, you're not long for the company. You've only been here a little bit. What do you see as like your top objective that you want to, either some low hanging fruit or some big project vision in mind? Like what's your highest priority?
I think top of my mind, it's difficult nowadays to do competitive games and not have an esports scene. Rick and I actually worked at the same company prior to this, so I think that part of partnerships and part of this event management is getting big sponsors and getting these well-recognized names to buy into it as well, so that when we have these tournaments, you start seeing even more money on the line for the people who are at the top, and even finding a way for people who are new in the space to be able to dip their toes into the competitive space as well, even though they may not have put quite as much money in there as yet. We want to make it so that everyone has a chance to dip their toes and work their way up the ranks.
That's awesome. Do you come with like a bevy of connections to the big brands and big businesses or do you think this is a lot of cold calling? Like, what's your?
There's going to be a little bit of both of those. With my time at the previous company, we made a lot of connections within the industry, both gaming and esports wise. And going forward, we're going to need more than just that. I think that the industry, the world, both gaming and esports, is ripe for getting in on the blockchain and the play to earn model. And, there's not a lot of people who are doing it well, let alone doing it right the way that Splinterlands is. I was actually a little apprehensive, when I first got offered this opportunity, because a lot of what you see, people are doing some shady stuff with crypto and NFTs right now. But the way that I've looked at it, the concept of NFTs has always been inherent for gaming. It's built into the DNA of gaming. And I think there's going to be a lot of companies out there, both endemic and non-endemic, that are going to want to get on the ground floor here.
Yeah, I mean, we get contacted pretty frequently about it. We're trying to pick the right partners and not just go wild. I think we did pretty good with picking Warner Music and going in that direction.
Fantastic pickup.
Yeah, I'm pleased. So, all right. Well, if how can the community help you, or how would you want people to interact with you? Is that something that you think will happen, or like how can we as a group promote you, or what would great behavior from all of us look like to help you be successful?
Yeah, let us know what kind of partnerships you'd like to see. Who are some of your favorite brands in the space? Who are some of your favorite streamers, your favorite content creators that you think would make great partnerships? Just as like a little bit of a joke, but if this ends up happening, I think it would work. But, I put in the Discord earlier when we had our friend from the Warner Media Group on here. How cool would it be to be able to do a poll and vote on who the next artist that's featured in a card like Waka was?
Yep. Yeah, break that fourth wall. We all get to do it. We're all talking directly to the community. Community chatting right here. Like, if you have ideas, if you guys have plans, go bust Robbie's chops, and let's find out what this is going to look like and make it happen. All right. I think that's good for now. To the new folks, thanks for being here. Thanks for working here. I know you're not everybody's new, but and to the sort of department heads that are here and leading this business, I really appreciate your time and your effort and your work. We're trying to change the world. We're working on it every day. We're not just a game. We're here for economies, communities, and sweet games. So hopefully this stuff will kind of come together. We got some questions. So maybe I think Reality's here. She's amazing. God, she's so fast. I didn't even finish the sentence and she's there. So we're gonna move on to the second part of the town hall. We're gonna go through some questions here, and then the last part of the town hall, we'll just take community questions. Now Matt's not here, and Matt likes to answer some of these things, so I might have to punt because I'd rather go do this with the consent of my partner as opposed to just me shooting from the hip. But we'll see what happens here, and I think Hardpoint's going to be able to answer a bunch of these with us. All right, on the SPS management page, what's the source of the price of SPS? How is it calculated? Sometimes there are differences between the price there and the price on CoinMarketCap. Do you have an answer for that, Hardpoint? Do you want me to take that?
I'm gonna say we have an internal feed, and our data is slightly delayed behind the external feed, so that's what you're seeing. So I can I could say that to Matt, give us more detail when you're here, but I'm pretty sure that's the difference in why you see a lag there in pricing.
Yeah, we do. There's a little bit of like average pricing that's built into that. So it's not always the exact same thing as like the latest price. And we have to do that to make sure that our stuff isn't like manipulated. So, it's not meant to be hugely different, but there are times where those two numbers will be different. Rewards is increasing the number of users receiving a leaderboard prize to be top 100 instead of top 50 part of the incoming changes to the reward system.
It's definitely being discussed. It's something I would love to do. I would love if the leaderboard had more prizes for more people and ranked was more rewarding. And that's sort of what ranked rewards version 2 is all about, is how do we make sure people are earning more and more consistently instead of waiting 14 days. Why don't you earn more every day? And that's really what we're diving into.
Here's a TerraBlock question. Where can we find in detail how the TerraBlock bridge would work? Does their company have to own DEC and SPS and all the chains? Or are you giving them the tokens? Or do they have special power to create those tokens via a contract? We all trusted Splinterlands team previously with these powers of creating tokens on different chains. How do we gain that trust in a new third party? And what are the risks? Is this a question we're punting for Matt?
Yeah, I'll let Matt answer that. He's one to dive deep into the TerraBlock project.
Yeah, he's not here this week. I'm going to punt. Please don't take this as me like completely just ignoring this question. It's just me wanting to make sure that I give you the most accurate answer, and the person that's able to do that is Matt. So we'll hold on to this for now. Land, have you discussed if land is going to have monster caps like summoners do? For example, would a common land plot be able to use maxed out summoners?
Great suggestion.
Yeah.
We have ideas of what that looks like, but nothing formal to really kind of give you guys a concrete answer on that yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for concepts like, common land should be able to use max summoners, but you're going to have to upgrade your common land to a max level common land to be able to use max level summoners to be able to use max level monsters. I don't know that that's the way it's going to work, but that's what I'm going to advocate. We work on these teams, right? So doesn't even matter if I'm the guy being like, this is how I think it should work. There's whole teams that are going to be like, well, dude, this is what it's more than just this one decision. We have whole economies to work out. So, it's hard to give like 100% answers to these things. We'll know and stand by it when we get the white papers out.
There's one other thing I got to throw out on the rewards question, since I don't see any other questions about it. I thought people would appreciate this. One of the things we did in the last couple of months is we brought on Block, who's someone who's dealt with analysis, and he's been working with ButcherBlock, our data guy, and we've been actually building out models of the reward system into where we can actually see how much is being made at what tier with what CP, by who, with what cards. So we're actually diving very, very deep in the next set of changes for ranked rewards. It's one of the things that's slowing down the change a little bit, because we're actually trying to make a more data-driven decision on how we improve the reward earnings for people playing ranked. So I just thought I would mention it, since some people probably really appreciate to hear that.
Yeah, I think that's something that we should all really consider of like, it's not up to me and my feelings about things. It's not even really up to Matt and his feelings. Like, we make data-driven decisions. Like we're not just doing stuff because like this is how we feel or I think this is important. You look at data and you do like A/B testing and you say like, what is this system that we're trying to do? Like, are we just trying to reward whales? Are we just trying to reward minnows? Are we trying to have a fair curve? What are we trying to do here? And then is the data showing us that we're achieving that objective? And so we try to make data-driven decisions, and we try to have consensus-based opinions on, what is going to add the most value to this community. And that's the way that we sort of phrase things and build things here. Warner Music Group, similar questions to last week. Will the Warner Music Group games be related to Splinterlands? Related is not like a specific term. So I feel safe saying yes, but it's related is not well defined. But, all of these things will be associated. There's a lot of commonality to the back ends. It should, I believe, be a single sign-on experience so that all of your keys that you have in one game automatically get you registered and working for the next. We'll see how that all goes, but that is my first pass. Will SBS have a use case in the Warner Music games? So we want to. That's a little bit more specific than I want to answer now. Until we really have all of the terms set, I'm not in a spot to answer that. But I think the big picture here that you should know is that we want to make sure that this community has an incentive to participate not only in this community, but also with the things that we are building with Warner Music Group. And, I can't tell you every single detail of how that will work, but I will tell you that is my intention, is to make sure that you are rewarded for being here and incentivized to be a participant over there. Tournaments. Is there a plan to let people use modern reward cards in modern format tournaments?
I believe so, but I'm not part of the modern development team. So I would like to see that all shake out first before I can commit to it. But from like Weird Beard, yeah, I would like to see that.
So it's from my perspective too, just to share with you, what you guys are going to see right now is projected out as that we're going to release Modern and Wild for ranked first before it goes to tournaments. So just setting the expectation, guys, part of that being agile and doing smaller chunks of development. One of the first things we're going to try to do is get Modern and Wild out for ranked. And then we'll be diving into how does that integrate into tournaments. But both are on the agenda to get done.
We answered this in the first part, but maybe you can answer this again, Hardpoint. How many full-time developers are there at the moment? How many? And I give them the answer of how many are there and how many are sort of in process.
Yes, we have 12 developers on staff right now, with another 7 kind of in process right now, going through our collaborative evaluation. So we're around 19, but the full-time number is around 12. We're starting, we did have 13, and one of them had personal issues that he had to go address. So we lost one. We were at 13 for a little bit. So we're excited for the new guys that are joining the team, and we're hoping they'll all work out. We'll have more people, but it's very exciting. There will be some new, hint, there'll be some new dev roles coming out in the next couple of weeks as they get some things sorted with K-Bucks on.
Yeah. If are we still looking for more devs? Do you want to give a pitch of any kind of high-level gigs that we're looking for, and just make sure that the community knows these are roles that are important?
Yes, but the skill sets, that's the only thing I can, I would love to, we are going to be looking for more devs and senior devs, especially dev leads, but I need to drill and have discussions internally about the type of tech that we're looking for those devs to have talent in. And that will be something we'll be announcing soon as we work through those different aspects of it.
All right. So request, is there any chance we will reverse the decision about putting fees on moving money to and from Ethereum? My guess is that that's asking us to spend, we didn't build the Ethereum fees. That's just part of Ethereum. So, we're not that's not us charging you a fee so much as us just making sure that the fee is paid for by the user. And that's like a gas fee, not a Splinterlands fee. So I don't really know how we do that unless we're subsidizing it. But I don't think that's a fair thing to ask the company. But that is the kind of thing that maybe if it is the kind of thing that maybe if the community thinks that's really important, when the full DAO is up and running, you guys could go put in a proposal and have the DAO fund some of that. And if the community votes for it, then then there. Right. What do you think about revamping the quest potion so that if you buy one, it doesn't increase the number of chests, but make the card drop probability higher? Another option would be to remove it from the shop completely, but make it a chest drop in itself, so you have a chance to pull quest potions from the daily quests.
I think Matt had mentioned previously, and Aggie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought we were pretty sure that quest potions weren't coming back in any form, and they're kind of dead and gone for right now, at least as far as that's what I remember.
I mean, my answer is kill it dead. You know, it's hard to say that permanently because, you know, if we make reward changes and we can find a place for it and the reward system is working, then maybe that's something that we can do. Have you considered any fixes for bots in the marketplace? They make it hard for us to sell our cards as bots always go 0.1 cent lower.
Well, how is that any difference from another player underbidding you by 0.1 cent lower? You know, I don't know that. We're not going to shut people out from trying to use the market, and as long as bots aren't exploiting things, it's really not. Remember what we kind of say: we're really bot neutral, but we're really anti any player, whether bot or human, is doing something that exploits the economy in some ways in a negative way. And it's really, what are they doing? Are players or human, like bot, either automated or not, doing something that's harmful to the economy? And that's the type of thing we're going to address.
Are there any fixes planned to address bots dominating the leaderboards?
I would speak to that for tournaments, at least, in that, yes, there are developments. I can't totally take them public because we have, again, we're working with the rapid development team to make sure that we can promise and deliver what we promise. But what I will say is that we are looking at creating specific KYC tournament play areas so that if you are looking for a specific like verified account area, there will be tournaments that either require that or tournament areas that require you to have a verified account. The tournaments as they exist now, the open tournaments will always exist and will always allow people who are not interested in KYCing. But if you are looking for a specific KYC environment, that is being worked on the back end currently.
If you go look at like the battle history and click on the Champion League, I mean that does not look like it is just all bots everywhere. You know, maybe some of the other guys can sort of like chime in and give me some answers, but this doesn't look like it's pure bots to me. Certainly not at Champion, not at Diamond.
There is. Can I share one thing that was? I'm just going to say that we were aware that there's been CPs. The leaderboard had players that had dropped CP and were still higher in the higher leagues, and that's something we're actually looking at and reviewing and looking to fix. So that's something we had heard discussed in the community and actually have been actively reviewing it.
I mean, I remember looking at this one particular day and being like, "Oh, it's all bots. That's bad." But it was like a mid-season day, and then when it got to the actual end of season, the players showed up and it changed pretty drastically. So I don't know. We're sort of bot agnostic, and at least for now, it looks like the bots just got spanked. So Bubkey, Yasik, and BJI. I guess I see Zeke, 2 Zekes in the top there. So
the one thing that's going to happen to Aggie about bots, I'll just share this with the community as people see the development go forward this year, is that the game is going to change, and that's going to cause ripples to how bots behave and stuff. So just keep that in mind, guys. I mean, this isn't like a tomorrow thing, but there's going to be new rule sets that will eventually get launched. The land is going to add changes to how the ranked battles are played as we induce items and things. So there's going to be a lot of different things that are going to shift things around. We're also introducing, there's a lot, if you guys are paying attention to the fixes that are getting rolled out, you guys will notice that we are doing a lot of things to clean things up, make things more clean for the players, more fair across the board. So we are actively working on these things. We're actively listening to you. I think that's the most important thing you can consistently hear from the team, is that we are listening and we are trying to take appropriate action and not just be emotional about our reactions when we do take them.
And to speak to the esports side, there is no esport on the planet that allows bots to compete at high level tournaments like that. So while the game is bot agnostic from the esports side of it, we will always try to, I think, strive towards having competition between human players. Because that's when big money and big, big names and all that kind of stuff is on the line, you want to know who you beat. Like that's half of the joy of knowing, if you beat Gank or if you beat Biz or if you beat any of the other, Mavs, you want to be able to know that that's who you were playing heads up.
That's the end of the questions. So if the lady Reality could post the next sequence here, we're going to move on to the full question section now. So I guess I'll just type it in. Open for questions. So you guys can go spam away. We have about 30 minutes, and we're going to go, plow through questions until we're blue in the face. Question. Asking this is not to invoke change, but to just hear it out loud. But in the likes of college football, basketball, what if the last day of ranked battle season, the top 20 teams or so go into an anytime ranked tournament for the big prize at the end of the season to battle some of the issues of ranked battles? I know forfeiting would still be an issue, but would this help any?
Maybe. I feel like there's a lot of really cool tournaments that we're looking at doing, like a lot of interesting and different ones, and I want to get to that, but I feel like first we have to make sure that our current tournament system and the new tournament system we're also working on are in working order. Like, I continue to preach this in the tournaments channel on Discord. Before we take this and blow it up with a million different really cool tournaments, we want to get like our, McDouble correct. Our thing that we're known for has to be in the top working order before trying to do a whole bunch of them. So it's like, fix one thing, get it really good, and then we can look at adding dope, cool tournaments that, the community proposes and wants to do.
Yeah, I can also speak. I think there's underneath this question, there's also how do we make ranked battles? How does the relationship to prize money into season and ranked battles play out? This is something that we have a design for, and that's what we talk about ranked rewards. One of the things ranked rewards is going to do is it's going to smooth out the rewards over the course of the season. So, imagine, if you will, a world where you wake up tomorrow and instead of you battling up to a certain spot, and this is not totally unhypothetical in what we're doing, is imagine a world where you wake up every day and your goal is to fight and get your battles in at your appropriate league so that you can get appropriately rewarded based on the league that you can actually fight at. And what if every day that was valuable to you and it wasn't just valuable there? Stopped fighting. What if every day where you felt rewarded for your engagement in the game? And actually, that's a big chunk of one of the things that me and Matt have been working on with this ranked reward thing that's coming, is that it becomes meaningful to every player to participate in the game every day of the season. And it's not just something where you stop playing after you've reached your highest league rank.
Yep, I can dig it. All right, next one. Question for Hardpoint or maybe Weirdbeard. Is there any ETA on the hide any player's name update from ranked play and especially tournaments?
We have it actually on the backlog. I think I actually heard them talking about working on it, and I know Nate was handing assets off to certain people that were pretty cool. I haven't seen them, but I know it's actively being worked on, so very soon, I would imagine. Wouldn't you agree, Nate?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, let me.
I'm hearing high candy. I'm hearing high candy.
Oh, it's not that much, but you're gonna see like this hooded figure show up on your screens. He'll look like this. So this hooded figure is going to represent an unknown opponent in the UI, and the UI will be done momentarily pretty soon. So you guys will get that feature soon.
And the moment that it's available in ranked battle, I hope to be able to pull it into tournaments. So, yeah.
Question for Nate. I spy a Freak Rising on the far left and Silas in the middle, but who the heck are the rest of these guys? None of the others are cards yet. So will we see any of them with Rift Watchers?
Well, I don't know if this is good or bad news for you, but they're all almost all those guys are cards. Let me see. Ifrit Rising. Next guy is the Chaos Mage or Mage of Chaos. He's a neutral card. That's Queen Mycelia. That's Silas. That's Legionar Olvar. That's Obsidian. And then that's what's his name? Dragon card. But yeah, they're in the game.
Nice.
That's pretty impressive, Nate. I'll give you 10 points to Gryffindor for that
one. Okay. All right, where's my next one? Any chance to provide an additional API to pull users' listings given an input variable rank number? This is a pretty techie question.
I would say that we're open to expanding our APIs to allow people, but I would say it's feedback.splinterlands.com. If you put in there and there's a lot of people interested in getting that same feature done, then we would consider it. I'd say right now that like those kind of things, we're open to hearing suggestions, but until we have another team built out that's just built at the moment.
Cotterface is asking, you already said you don't want to comment on SPS relating to Warner partnership, but speaking in general, will SPS be connected in any way to the further expansion of games projects within Steam Monsters, or does SPS stay specifically within the Splinterlands game? So the problem with me answering this is that I haven't set up commercial terms with every single one of these organizations for every single one of the projects that we do. So I can't answer specifically, and so I have to answer vaguely. And when I answer vaguely, the answer is I want to do everything I can to make sure that we are incentivizing the people that hold the particularly the governance token, but potentially the other assets as well. And we want to incentivize them to not only hold them here, but also to be rewarded in the other projects that we do. So that is my intent. Whether or not I'm going to be able to do that in every single instance is not clear. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. My magic 8-ball doesn't always answer me when I ask it. And so we have to figure out as we go what will it actually look like. And when we work with partners, it's not just me and Matt saying, high five, let's do an airdrop. And this is how we'll do it. When we work with partners, it's, we have to come to consensus, and we have to consider not only how are we going to incentivize the players in our ecosystem, but in the case of Warner, how do we incentivize their fans that are pre-existing to come here? So there's a lot of give and take, and commercial terms aren't fully done, but the intent that we work with is always starting from the question of how do we get as much value back to our players as possible? That's where we start. And hopefully we won't let you down, but it's potential in any given one of these projects that we can't do it exactly the way that you want. And that's just the nature of this. Question, do we know yet if the Warner stuff is going to be utilizing the high? It's likely, but it's likely, not definitively yes. Question, why are we selling Waka Gold and regular separately on wax instead of something similar to what we did in game? Random, regular, or gold foil. It could have been sold at the same price in a wax pack, pre-minted card with a chance of gold foil. There were all kinds of technical issues that went with that. So we went with, let's sell it as gold and regular. And actually thought it might be cool. This is really one of the only times in the history of Splinterlands where we've done something like that. So it's not the normal thing that we do. Hopefully you think it's kind of cool. But I understand not everybody will like it. I don't think that that's going to be the norm going forward. Can we please see what Splinter Brave ad looks like? Lee, you have anything handy for that?
I don't have anything offhand. but if you DM me, I can get one too for sure.
Yeah, Milden, please go buzz chatter. Merkster, do you think getting a 89 win streak is normal, or is this gained by using an exploit? I think if you're ranking up and you're like at the right time of the season, it's actually pretty frequent where you're just like plowing through noobs. Anybody else want to agree or disagree with that?
So far, it's a loaded question, right? They're sort of saying, is our system, are we aware of an exploit where people can cheat in the game? We're not aware of any way that players can cheat. So they're submitting cards just like every other player to compete. So I would say definitively right now, it's not an exploit. And back to you is, I will tell you, we are aware for times of the season, it's easier to level up than others. And that's what Aggie alluded to. So depending on when you play right now, it's definitely an easier go at it than other times. And that's something that we've been monitoring and we're analyzing right now to try to figure out a way to encourage more participation in the game, as I mentioned before.
When Splinterlands theme park with roller coaster? I would love to make a Splinterlands. I think if Warner or some of our other big projects go well or land goes ballistic, I'll actually make that like a higher priority. But, we'll start off with, what?
Yay.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yay. Not yet. That is like I think we need much bigger dollars to be able to go do like to go make these Splinterlands. In part because I want it on our own private island. Just saying. What is this week's latest development in regards to land development? Hardpoint, you're pretty excited about land. Anything you want to share from the team meetings over there?
I think the biggest thing, I mentioned this in the land channel the other day, is that we've been actually kind of working on land this entire year, but it's been fits and starts because of other things that get organized and going. But literally, the team has hit full gear in the last three weeks, where there's actual like bare metal code being thrown down towards building that land. So that's really exciting development for me as somebody that's excited about land. I'm excited that there's momentum. I'm excited that it's going to show up on the roadmap and start to look like phase one. When we're going to hit phase one is going to come out soon. What's going to be in phase one? And I know, we'll probably, Nate, I'm sure we'll start doing some eye candy as we start feeling like we're happy with the assets and things. And you start cool things start coming out which we'll be excited to share with you guys.
Have you thought about releasing books based on Splinterlands lore? The fiction readers are a huge possible new user base.
Well, I will say this because I think there was another question above it, but they're so linked together. I think it's worth answering them both at the same time. So the narrative team, I know that the last narrative meeting we had just a couple days ago, I think we touched upon it briefly, that our narrative lead, Joey, was kind of spearheading the whole idea of compiling all these stories and prepping them in case we ever did want to publish a Chaos War, novel of sorts, or, a compilation of all the stories and whatnot, which I think would be pretty darn cool. If we don't go that direction, then at the very least, some sort of, digital PDF. So people can kind of decide to kind of, before they go to bed at night, they whip out their tablet and they just kind of read through the stories. Not that it'll put you to sleep. Hopefully it keeps you awake, but you know what I mean? In the same vein, I would say that something I've always told the narrative design team is that as they're world building, I want to see the same. In fact, what I told them to do is that I want them to treat this as if they are literally building a tabletop campaign world. I want it so that we have the depth and we have the just all of it, the culture, the races, the politics, the kingdoms, the history, just all of it. I want all the world building to be detailed to such a degree that if one day we did decide to create some sort of campaign modules so that you can just just start, you know, playing D&D in the Splinterlands world, then that would be a possibility. And so the good news is a good part of the narrative team is actively involved in playing D&D campaigns with their own friends, and they do it regularly. And so they're like, yeah, heck yeah. So I think that is something on our mind. And to touch upon another point that was brought up earlier and might be, you know, somewhere related, is that our narrative editor, I mean, he came from Marvel and DC. You know, I know earlier in the discussion we talked about comic books, but when I hired him, that was part of the discussion. Is like, you know, it's not if we're going to do it, it's like, when are we going to do it? When are we going to leverage his network, leverage who he knows, leverage these companies he's worked with in the past, and start building up a team dedicated specifically to a Splinterlands comic book. So, I mean, these are all things that, you know, that yeah, heck yeah, you know, you guys want it, we want to do it. So it's just a matter of, you know, finding the right time and devoting the resources when the time is right.
Also, I want little shorts for all the characters, and I don't mean shorts like you would wear. I mean like short videos. Just
yeah, definitely.
We don't need to be doing hot pants for everybody.
That's what I literally was thinking in my mind. It was like
Rexy with hot pants.
Yeah, I was like thinking of hot pants for all the characters. I
mean, that could be a skin.
You're both weird.
It is weird, but that's not what I meant.
Skins? Question mark.
No, but I'm with you, Egbert. I would say that, in fact, that's part of our artistic style, which we touched upon just briefly on the last town hall, which is as we're conceptualizing the art team on the art style moving forward, one of the biggest considerations is exactly what you're saying: storytelling in an animated sense. Whatever art style is going to support and promote that is kind of one of the considerations we're making going forward. So for sure, totally on board.
It's huge priority for me. So I would love to see that all exist. Have you considered being able to use NFTs for player profile pics?
Yes, of course. Just where do you rank that next to land? Like, you know, where do you rank that next to? And I think the one thing that's great about the community is there's amazing ideas, and that's what feedback.splinterlands.com has been. We've been reading them and looking at them. But you guys got to realize, it's like, no matter how much we grow as a team, and no matter how big creative gets, no matter how big dev gets, you guys will think of ideas faster in a sitting than we have to implement. And so we're the most value to the community at any given point. And that's why we're making the hard decisions of what we are choosing to do to help